Urvasi said, "My dear hero, only preparations made in ghee, clarified butter, will be my eatables, and I shall not want to see you naked at any time except at the time of sexual intercourse." The great-minded king, Pururava, accepted these proposals. Text 23, which is on the board. Aho rupa mahabhavo, aho rupa mahabhavo, aho rupa mahabhavo, nara loka vimohanam, nara loka vimohanam, konam seveta manujo, kona seveta manujo, kona seveta manujo, devim tavam svayam agatam, devim tavam svayam agatam. So, gentlemen, if you'd like to chant the verse, please. Arubab mahabhavo, narolokam vimohanam, konantiveta manuja, devim svayam bhagavatam. Aham rupa mahabhavo, naromi ogam monam, namam seve dharmanuja, Indiam samjai vakantam. Aho rupa mahabhavo, naro loka vihonanam, konam seve kamanuja, devim tavam svayam agatam. Ladies. Aho rupa mahabhavo, nara lokam vimohanam, kona sveta manujo, devim tavam svayam bhagavatam. Aham rupa mahabhavo, loka vimohanam, kona sevata manajo, devam tavam svayam gatgatam. If you repeat after me, the word for word translation. Aho, wonderful, rupam, beauty, aho, wonderful, bhavaha, postures, nara loka, in human society or on the planet Earth, vimohanam, so attractive, kaha, who, na, not, savata, can accept, manujaha, among human beings, devim, a demigoddess, dvam, like you, svayam, agatam, who has personally arrived. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki. Purava replied, "O beautiful one, your beauty is wonderful, and your gestures are also wonderful. Indeed, you are attractive to all human society. Therefore, since you have come of your own accord from the heavenly planets, who on earth would not agree to serve a demigoddess such as you?" So if you repeat each phrase after me, Purava replied, "O beautiful one, your beauty is wonderful, and your gestures are also wonderful. Indeed, you are attractive to all human society. Therefore, since you have come of your own accord from the heavenly planets, who on earth would not agree to serve a demigoddess such as you?" Purport. It appears from the words of Urvasi that the standard of living, eating, behavior and speech are all different on the heavenly planets from the standards on this planet Earth. The inhabitants of the heavenly planets do not eat such abominable things as meat and eggs. Everything they eat is prepared in clarified butter. Nor do they like to see either men or women naked, except at the time of sexual intercourse. To live naked, or almost naked, is uncivilized. But on this planet Earth, it has now become fashionable to dress half naked, and sometimes those like hippies live completely naked. Indeed, there are many clubs and societies for this purpose. Such conduct is not allowed, however, on the heavenly planets. The inhabitants of the heavenly planets, aside from being very beautiful, both in complexion and bodily features, are well behaved and long living, and they eat first-class food in goodness. These are some of the distinctions between the inhabitants of the heavenly planets and the inhabitants of earth. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshon Milatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vancha Kalpatrupiyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanabheyo Vaishnavabheyo Namo Namaha. So here we have an exchange here between the demigoddess Purvasi and King Purava. And when she arrives after this curse, King Purava, he approached her in a very direct way. And he says, "O most beautiful woman, you are welcome. Please sit here and tell me what I can do for you. You may enjoy with me as long as you desire. Let us pass our life happily in sexual relationship." Then he says, when a beautiful man and a beautiful woman unite together, embrace one another, how within the three worlds can they check their beautiful relationship? That says in the purport of the following thing. But Urvasi, she replied to this, "O most handsome man, who is the woman whose mind and sight would not be attracted by you? If a woman takes shelter of your chest, she cannot refuse to enjoy with you in a sexual relationship. My dear King Pururava, it continues, please give protection to these two lambs which has fallen down with me. Although I belong to the heavenly planet and you belong to earth, I shall certainly enjoy sexual union with you. I have no objection in accepting you as my husband, for you are superior in every respect." So, it seems that Purvasi, in her response, somehow adjusts matters. His approach to her was very direct. He wanted to have sexual relationships with her. He had this very powerful, strong, very direct. And it was sort of, you could say there's a cultured feel to her approach, in his approach, charming almost. And but then there's an adjustment for Purvasi. She comes from the heavenly planets. She seems to know a higher culture. And so this adjustment, it says, I have no objections in having you as my husband, for you are superior in every respect. She adjusts his approach to that of marriage, a proposal of marriage. So it's an interesting sort of response, sort of subtly brought in there. And then she again offers more background to the culture what she's from in the higher planets. And this was something is quite new to me, because I'm not so advanced in the reading of Bhagavatam. You know, the culture of the heavenly planets. I've seen many times where Prabhupada says how we can enjoy so much greater pleasure and activities in the heavenly planets, and it will be difficult for us to go to a higher level of realization in terms of spiritual life, such as the enjoyment of the heavenly planets. But here, this was enlightening to me, the culture is higher than that. It's a Vedic culture. It's based on the Vedas. They follow the Vedas. So, and those that go to the heavenly planets basically go to follow the Vedas to get to these positions, or that they've performed some pious activities which just hasn't quite elevated them enough to this position of devotional service. So it's very nice how here Prabhupada, he explains this different in the cultures, and also he's preaching. It's hard and fast preaching from Prabhupada here. He says the standard of living and behavior and the speech are different on the heavenly planets. So he's adjusted my viewpoint, here, by pointing out these things that as the Purvasi is indicating that she's from a cultured background, And these are things to consider. So he says the inhabitants of the heavenly planets do not eat abominable things such as meat and eggs. Everything they eat is prepared with clarified butter. Interesting. This preaching that Prabhupada's doing here is necessary. We're in a place and a time where everything seems to go. That as long as it satisfies the tongue. So many abominable foodstuffs, if you go throughout the world, whether it be snails, lobsters boiled alive, these sort of things happening because apparently it enhances the flavour. And, it shows the degradation of the human society because it seems to be that this body is the boss, it's the ruler, and it's controlling everything we do within our mind and intelligence and activities. We say the modes of material nature, that in the Vedic culture we're supposed to follow those foodstuffs which are offerable and that are in the mode of goodness. But somehow or other, if we're not careful, we're introducing also foodstuffs in our own culture of ISKCON which are not in the mode of goodness. And so we have to be very careful. There's an infiltration, as it were. And we can see it happening. And I've heard this word, it's for preaching. We have to be very careful. Because who are we preaching to? Are we preaching to the devotees? Or are we preaching to the new people? We're doing both. But there is some confusion. That it's very noticeable that it seems that the devotee culture is also changing in line with our preaching. And so we're adapting to that which we use for preaching into our culture. And therefore, we change our standard. And it's happening. And you don't need to go anywhere in ISKCON without you see this creeping of the change of the culture. And I heard a wonderful lecture by Sankashan Prabhu on this very verse. And he talked about that actually ISKCON is supposed to be preaching a higher culture, even higher than the heavenly planets. So it was quite noticeable to me, his statement there, that actually this Vaishnava culture is not just the Vedas, it's Vaishnava culture. It's that which reaches the goal of the Vedas. It's above that of this Karmakanda Veda. Where we somehow still try and satisfy the senses. So what are we going for? And I remember in Mayapur, the question was asked to Subhag Maharaj about the use of yeast and pizzas and all these sort of things. And he says, he didn't answer it's good or bad, no we shouldn't do, yes we should do. He said, Krishna likes rice, chapatis, dal, samosas, choris, gulab jamans. So we offer what Krishna likes. So if you want the best, you offer the best. So, and immediately there was a big uproar. People were reacting because he didn't say yes or no. But somehow that those who have attachment to these other eatables, because they took it personally that what they were doing was not the best. So interesting. So there was reaction. But all he did was make this statement. It's a personal thing. So many things can happen within our society. And we have these Prabhupada disciples like Sankarshan Prabhu trying to point out that actually this Vaishnav culture is higher than Kamakanda, the sense gratification part of the Vedas, where certain things are permitted under certain conditions for gradual elevation. But we're on a devotional path, we're on the path of devotional service, where those things that we offer, and we offer to our spiritual master as well, we should consider who we're offering to and how will they benefit, how they will appreciate what we're offering. And so we should look at these things before we bring in the things that make us popular in the eyes of the public. And we should have clear understanding, because, it was told to me that actually this, the manner is like a guide to so many people that come here of standards. And we should know that. And we should appreciate that. But somehow or other, preaching or the devotional standard that we want to achieve, if we follow the answer of Subhag Maharaj, we end up offering what is Krishna is asking for, then we should be aware of these things. If we're trying to elevate ourselves in our devotional life, Vaidhi Bhakti, and we should be studying the books, we should be hearing what Srila Prabhupada says. So, it's a very important thing. And Nectar Devotion, he pointed out, is pointing out so many things to us that people don't follow. So, Nectar Devotion, there is such a hidden book, it seems. There's Bhagavad Gita and there's Srimad Bhagavatam. But where's Nectar of Devotion? It's one of the most important books we have, actually. And it clearly guides us, and it renders us safe from so many offences. Because we wonder why we're not getting our chanting right, or, it's not coming together, somehow things are happening. And it's because we don't know that we're doing small offences that actually can harm our devotional creeper. It's a creeping thing, as they say. So the point here is Mother of Asi, Shri Shri Radha Gokul Nanda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Gaurnitai Ki Jai, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ki. She's trying to adjust King Parura's approaches in a way that suits the culture, her culture. She's putting provisos, quite early on to his approach. She's somehow encouraging him to approach her in a different manner and consider other things. And then, it's very nice, it says on here, therefore, he says here in reply, he says, therefore you've come here of your own accord. He accepts what she says. And from the heavenly planets, who on earth would not agree to serve a demigoddess such as you? He's talking about service. Interesting. So, he's turning it around, because he's appreciating that also that this person needs service. Initially his approach was for his own attraction and his own gratification, but now there's this wonderful exchange where there are some conditions laid down, and so it comes down that somehow he has to be aware that he has to serve her. And so, like any relationship, there should be service on both sides. Otherwise, it's not service. We're back to where we go on the bodily platform. That somehow, unless you serve me, I won't serve you in the way I want or the way you want. It's a business deal. Again, this comes in if we're not careful. I had very great difficulties with Mahaprasadam serving in the early days with my service. And it was mainly that somebody wants all fruit. So they wanted to take all the fruit for their breakfast. And I said, sorry. Please, it's to honour, and it's for everybody to honour. And it's not for the satisfaction of your breakfast appetite. And it caused me all sorts of problems, because I'm not only dealing with devotees on maybe a par with me, I was talking to people senior to myself. So I was in real trouble. So, what do we do? You know, I had a sort of duty, as I understood it then, and I've been adjusted so many times by management on this. I've had some clouts on their head, you know. But in a way, it's right. I have to see who I'm serving and their position within the society. And if I don't know it, I have to be very careful. That's a point, because there's offending can still happen. And this is a great danger. But at the same time, there's duty. So, what do we tread? This balance of duty and offence. It's almost like emotional blackmail. You should be pleasing the devotees. I hear it so many times if it doesn't work out how they like. So, it's what we call emotional blackmail. You get it in husband and wife relationships. You know, it's very heavy, actually. But we must be very careful how we manipulate in this way. If we can't understand that which is being told us, like the king is adjusting his position with Pravasi, he's adjusting himself. And he's contemplating what she said, and he's brought it in such a position where, okay, it may be to get his own way, and he's maybe not seeing the foreseeing circumstances, but he also understands that maybe there's some service here that I have to do. So he understands that he also has to serve her. So this devotional life is like a tightrope, they say, isn't it? We can fall off just for the slightest misunderstanding. But at the same time, even misunderstandings should be adjusted if possible. If there is some misunderstanding, there should be apologies, sorries, and all these sort of things that take place. So, but because we're on a Vaishnav level, we should consider and be very careful, even though we think we're doing our duty. The way we do our duty is important. And I've been adjusted on that so many times. It's just the sound of the voice that can cause the offence rather than what is being said. So, this culture which we have here is even higher on the heavenly planets in terms of this earthly planet. I'll not say the Vaishnav culture, because as Sankarshan Prabhu points out, that the Vaishnav culture is supposed to be even higher than the demigod culture. So, it it poses many, many questions, and also adjustments within ourselves to know that we have to listen what is required in our service together and in our loving relationships. That somehow that it's not an attack on us if we're not doing what somebody wants. We don't take it personally or offence. Vaishnavas should not. But we should take it as a message. Maybe there's a lesson to be learned. That maybe as Prayojana is adjusting his position. He's very intelligent. He's picked up very quickly what his position is. It's a marriage situation. He's making a proposal to her in her culture. And so it says, and also this being naked, Sankirtan devotees, all glories to your service. All glories to your service. All glories to your service. Because you approach people in various state of dress and approaches and things that they say to you. If you're a female, just the things that people say and how they look. If you're male, the same. It can be, very difficult. So this is like almost above and beyond the call of the duties, of the service. Actually, what sometimes it happens on the streets. So, what we're here is that Prabhupada's pointing out the uncivilized position. And there was one part where he went to a nudist colony or a community. And my Guru Maharaj pointed, he told of this pastime where Prabhupada went to this nudist colony and they were all nude there, and he was talking to them and he gave some talk there. And as he was leaving, there was a man looking after some vegetables, and he was naked. And he says, "What are you doing?" He said, "What are you doing?" to this person that was doing the vegetables. He says, "Well, I'm cultivating these vegetables." He said, "No, what are you doing with your life?" And that penetrated his heart. This person, he said, "When I heard this, I was stunned. And it caused me to look inside. What am I doing with my life?" And he became a follower, actually, after that. He followed the devotees. He gave up the nudist colony. And so, very interesting. But it just needs just that little comment. What are you doing with your life? It applies to all of us. Prabhupada's speaking to all of us. That somehow or other, for the sake of our tongue and our genitals, we should be looking at what we're doing with our life. If we're trying to reach the ultimate goal. It seems that vows and that we make can be so easily tried to be adjusted to suit our own situation. We have to be really careful, because, and I've said it before, that somehow we have to seek higher advice if we start to adjust what we've been asked to do away from what Prabhupada's doing. And it should be from the elevated souls, the great souls, that are more advanced than ourselves. So, really, the whole context of what we're doing here and what I see here is a very interesting interchange between two persons, and their affection or attraction, very strong thing that's so strong in this world. And so I'm just trying to see if there's anything else here that. So he says this is the distinction between the inhabitants on the heavenly planets and the inhabitants on earth. So we, from Bhagavatam, from Bhagavad Gita, we see the differences between the earthly culture as it stands in the age of Kali, as opposed to Vaishnav standards in these Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and nectar devotion, which I like to include here. So, any comments, questions?